Assistant Secretary Dalton, in your testimony, you mentioned that rising temperatures, droughts, and more frequent, intense, and unpredictable storms and floods have already begun to affect military readiness and impose significant cost on the department. I agree with you that these environmental hazards are degrading readiness, critical infrastructure, and capabilities. In my home state of Nevada, the vast majority of the state is currently experiencing a severe drought. That means that 2.6 million people are affected by the drought, with 6.13% of Nevadans experiencing extreme drought. The Colorado River Basin has racked up such dramatic deficits that a single season can't foretell the dire water supply concerns. And Lake Mead, the nation's largest reservoir, has fallen by about 170 feet since the current drought began in 2000 and currently sits at 27% capacity. In fact, if Lake Mead falls below 950 feet, it will go to dead pool status, which will prevent it from generating power that serves 40 million people throughout the West. This clearly has an impact on our readiness, including the bases in my district at Nellis Air Force Base, Creech Air Force Base, the National Test and Training Range, and the Hawthorne Army Depot. So could you explain how extreme weather is affecting our military readiness further and how the department is addressing climate resiliency?
Congressman, thank you for highlighting this really important issue. The NDS captures it as a critical transboundary challenge facing not just the United States, but also our global network of allies and partners. The department is seeking to make our systems more resilient to a range of threats that result from or are exacerbated by extreme weather events, which are being reshaped by climate change, increasing the resilience of our bases, making our structures, power grids, fuel distribution systems, and water lines more survivable, not only gives us a strategic advantage, particularly in contested logistics, but also improves our operational effectiveness. The military's mission is to provide the most lethal, effective, and capable fighting force, and that requires adapting to a changing security environment, including the effects of climate change. Additionally, working to build the resiliency of our partners to respond to climate-related disaster response efforts through both DoD and non-DoD programming will help DoD sustain focus on our key warfighting mission. For example, Southcom is working with allies and partners in the Caribbean to enhance their planning capabilities and better prepare for the anticipated impacts of extreme weather events and regional climate-related hazards through an upcoming tabletop exercise. And we're grateful for Congress's support of a new authority, the Defense Operational Resilience International Cooperation Fund, that will enable us to help build the resiliency of our allies and partners abroad. But we're looking at this both domestically and abroad to tackle the effects of climate change.
And what happens if we fail to build resilience against these effects of climate change and its effect on the loss of military capability?
Thank you, Congressman. Let me give you a pretty stark example. The NDS makes clear the PRC is our pacing challenge. The priority theater is the Indo-Pacific. When we look at Pacific Islands that we rely upon for access, basing, and overflight, for priority war plans, for PRC contingency, those are the very islands that are subject to storm surge and sea level rise over the next 10 to 20 years. And so if we fail to build climate resiliency in the Pacific Islands, key locations like the Kwajalein Atoll that has critical missile defense capabilities, we're going to be at risk of being able to perform our warfighting missions, full stop.
Well, I appreciate very much the department taking these challenges seriously, for you answering my questions, and I look forward to continuing to work with the department and this committee to address the threats facing our national security, including those related to climate. Thank you. I yield back.